I don't think this is gonna work. How are you guys doing? It's been a long time since we've met. Where are my regulars? Are we going to wait one more minute and then we'll start? Good to see you too, Rashmi. Oh yeah, Sir's painting is right there, always on my desk, reminding me that there are better things in life to look forward to rather than just staring at the computer screen. So yeah, it's always there. Thank you, sir, for a beautiful painting. Hi, Prerna. Good to see you. Hi, Shilpa. Okay, I have something very interesting today. We are going to talk about boundaries. And during the course of this entire session, the word boundaries is going to come up again and again. Okay, so the reason the word boundary is going to come again and again is because I want this to get into your minds that having a boundary is not a bad thing. Okay, and what exactly are boundaries? How do we define boundaries? How do we find out what our boundaries are? And how do we communicate those boundaries to others? How do we not take others' boundaries personally? These are the things that we are going to discuss. So this is going to be divided into two parts. This first part, the one that we are going to do today, is we are going to see what boundaries are, what healthy boundaries are, what unhealthy boundaries are, and how do we define our personal boundaries. Okay, so my boundaries won't be the same as yours. So how do you define your personal boundaries? How do you help your clients define their boundaries? Okay. Should we wait for some more time, sir, or should I begin? Okay. So before I take you to my PPT, there is one very practical demonstration that I will show you. Okay. This, can you guys see this glass with pink water? It's not ruafza, okay? It's just color in the water. This glass is you. This container is you. This pink water is you, your energy. Okay. So in a day, what do we do it? 50% of it goes into your kids, your husband or your spouse, your family, taking care of your household. The next, friends, problems of your friends, your in-laws, support system, your job, your career and everything else, boss. Then some of it goes to your life's problem. Maybe you have a health problem. You're thinking about that all the time. Maybe your family has a health problem. You're thinking about all the time. And then whatever is left is yours. What is left? What is left? Nothing. This is still you. But where is your energy? It has gone into all the cups that aren't even you. This is something and this is something. And then whatever is left, you've given it to your friends. What is left of you? And how do we protect what is left of you? Okay, so what do? We find a lid and we put a lid on it. That this reserve is mine. And do you know what society terms this? It's called selfishness. तुम तो बड़ी selfish हो गए यार. You've become very selfish. You're thinking all about yourself, right? Has anybody heard that? You want to take out time for yourself and you have heard you're very selfish. This energy that you have left for yourself, the society terms as selfishness. But if you don't have this, you will not be able to pour in any of the cups. If you don't have this, this will not grow again. And you will not be able to pour into any of the cups. So what do? We put a lid on it. So I define that this is my limit. If my energy goes below this limit, I will put a lid on it. And that's it. I will need time to rejuvenate. So what we are seeing, this is a boundary. And we are going to define those boundaries today. We are going to define those boundaries for you, for myself, for you to enable your clients to define those boundaries. Okay, any questions on that? I will be constantly stopping for chat because this is a very engaging session, and what is a boundary for me will not be a boundary for you, might not be a boundary for you. So yeah, I'm going to keep all these glasses safe before my mom really figures out I took out all the glasses in the kitchen. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. All right then. Anything in chat? How do you know that you have poured out everything for yourself? How do you know that you have poured out everything and nothing is left? What thought comes to your mind? Okay, this is a very tangible thing. This glass and this water is a very tangible thing. But our thoughts and our energies are not tangible at all. So how do we know that we have poured ourselves out completely? We feel drained. We have feelings of emptiness. We get exhausted, drained out. Okay, these are the physical symptoms. What are the thoughts that come? I give so much of myself in this relationship, but I don't get anything back. My husband doesn't care about me at all. This is a sign that you have poured out your cup. This is a sign that you have no boundary at all. Another statement is, I am giving my friends the solution to their problem. I can see that solution very clearly. And they just don't want to take it. I am so frustrated for them. I want this to work. I want that problem to be sorted out. But they just won't take it. How do I make my friends understand that this is the right solution? How is that your problem? That is a boundary you have to make. Okay? Okay, yes. Irritated, enough, depressed, depression sets in, depressed, and not appreciated. Agreed. Any more statements that you say? I pour all myself in this relationship, but the other person just doesn't respond. That is something that I get to hear again and again. Okay, I keep cooking food the entire day. I cook food for this man, I cook food for my in-laws, and they don't appreciate me. I am on my feet the entire day, and they don't appreciate me. This is one major sign that your cup has been poured out completely. And somewhere you're afraid to leave something back for yourself. Okay. Yeah, Prerna, you didn't do this today. It comes really, when you do a lot of things for other people, that becomes a baseline. So one day you decide not to do something, they tell me you are selfish, or they will say, yeah, you didn't do this today. Okay, so these statements, when they are coming from you or your client, that is a very clear indication that sometimes they might not have boundaries. They might not know that they should put boundaries, or they will have trouble communicating their boundaries. Okay, so these are the warning signs. And how do we fix it? We fix it by putting a lid, drawing the boundaries. Okay, so today we're going to see what boundaries are, what healthy boundaries look like, and what are unhealthy boundaries. And in the next session, we'll look at how to define our own personal boundaries. Okay? But there is a big but between today's session and the next session. That is the homework. And I'm going to give you all a homework. We will, in the middle of the session, we'll talk about how to figure out what your values are. Okay? And once you figure out what your values and principles are, we will be able to define your boundaries better. So I'll give you examples. I would want you to give me examples so that the homework becomes easier. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to share my PPT. Give me a second, please. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. Can anyone give me a definition of a boundary? What exactly is it? Chat. When I say a boundary, what does that mean? Okay, limit. Saying no, yes, a limit. And then what is a limit to? My limits. But what do you mean by my limits? Okay, extend. So can I say, if I have to equate it to something tangible, can I say that there is a house and then there is a fence? Okay, in that fence is the limit. People or a dog can't go out of that fence, or people or dogs can't come inside that fence. Okay, that is a boundary. Till where I can take or give without being drained completely. Yes, rubber band stretches and extend, then it's broken and flexible. Okay, so let's see what exactly is a boundary. Boundaries are statements that help us define our personal beliefs, values, and limits. And it's an invincible border, crucial for our safety, health, and mental well-being. So for our safety, it's both physical safety, it's both emotional safety. I would want to say safe physically, but I don't want somebody to come and start shouting at me, right? Some random person comes and starts shouting at me. Would I take it? Absolutely not. Would you take it? I don't think you will. So that is one boundary that you have even without you knowing so. If somebody comes and starts, okay, maybe somebody has diabetes, okay, and you go to a wedding, and of course there's a lot of food there, of course there's a lot of sweets there, and your family and relatives are there, and you pick up a piece of sweet, and somebody comes in the wedding and you've just danced and you're in a very happy mood, and they start telling you, no, 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 you should not eat sweets. You should not eat this. You should not eat that. You should eat this churran. You should eat that churran, and do some karele ka juice and whatever juice, and basically just spoils your mood. What do you think is going to be your reaction? That is also some sort of mental assault. You are not asking for their advice. They are spoiling your mood by giving unsolicited advice at a wrong place. What is going to be your reaction? Can anybody put yourself in that place and tell me what would be your reaction? Not the ideal reaction, okay? What would be your reaction? Anger, turn a deaf ear. Then anything else? Annoyed, definitely. Try to escape, that's a good one. Mind your business. Can we speak later? Okay. Have you heard of that joke when at a wedding, people come and talk to the youngest kid, your turn next, and that kid then goes to funerals and then starts telling all the older people, your turn next, right? So yeah, this communication of the boundary, I don't want to be mentally assaulted, I don't want to be verbally assaulted, so I will tell you to stop giving me advice at that point of time. Maybe we can talk about this later. This statement is not rude. This statement is an assertive statement. And this statement states my boundary that I really don't want to talk to you right now. But if I need advice, I will come back to you soon. You can't say mind your own business to some relative. Can you, Shilpa? Okay. Please don't say that, okay? So a boundary is a personal and a practical limit that defines you and protects you. It determines how much you allow others to enter into your life and how much you invade into other people's life. Boundary works both ways. This structure is a boundary. People can get in and you can get out. So it works both ways. How much you allow other people to get in your personal space, how much you get in other people's personal space. It works both ways. And establishing personal boundaries are important for your mental and emotional well-being. Any questions till now? Okay. So let me give you an example. I am an athlete. That means I use my lungs to perform all sports. Okay. So I cannot be around anyone who smokes. I do not smoke. I cannot be around somebody who smokes because it affects my sports performance. So that is my identity. Being an athlete is my identity. And I personally believe that I should not be around people who smoke because smoke can spoil my lungs and thereby impact my performance. What is my value? Do you guys know about values? Value is, in this particular example, my value is that I want to perform better. I want accomplishment in my chosen field of sports. What is my limit? I will not, if in your house you invite me and there's a person who smokes, even in the balcony, I will not attend any functions in your house. That's my limit. Because if they are even smoking in the balcony, I am afraid that this passive smoke will somehow affect me. Call it an irrational belief. You may call it an irrational belief, but that is my limit. So anybody who smokes in that house, if they want to smoke during the time I'm there, sorry, I cannot be invited to your house. And expectations. I am setting an expectation that when I am around, you will not smoke. Or if you smoke, I will leave. My entire boundary is made around a value, is made around my identity that I am an athlete. And I do not want to be around people who smoke. Okay. Can you give me an example of what your identity is? And we will see what your boundaries might look like. If you need help in sharing your identity, I can do that too. We can have a short conversation. You can raise your hand, I can unmute you. Okay, I know values is still unclear. That's why I'm looking for examples. So I'm going to, you raise your hands. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. We'll figure out what your values are. And then we'll look at boundaries. Okay, keep self away from gossip. How do you define a gossip? I wouldn't say that this is a value, but how do you define a gossip? Chandrika, can I unmute you? Would you want to say something and then we can have a conversation on this? Okay, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you. There you go.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Being a counselor, I feel, being part of gossips would again create some kind of mind blocks. Maybe you will not be able to help the person genuinely because you start becoming judgmental.
Judgmental, yes.
Yeah.
So not being judgmental. is
Yeah,
a boundary.
that's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, so not being judgmental is a value. Okay.
Yes.
Not having biases is a value. But
Yes.
let me tell
Not
you
having
very
biases.
honestly,
Huh.
Chandrika, maybe you are 40 years old. Okay.
Okay.
The way that you have been raised right from childhood, that would be a values system that has been passed on to you by your family. And
Yes.
I am not saying that it is a great values, it is not a great value system, but there would be biases that have been hereditarily given to you.
Yes.
Okay. So now, when you are in that same position of some bias that your family has taught you, for
Huh.
example, bodybuilders are dumb. Okay, people who build their
Okay.
body are dumb. Let's take that.
Yeah.
Okay. The first reaction, the first thought in your head that comes up will always be from the hereditary value pack that your family has given you. Always be.
Absolutely. Yes.
The second thought that comes, no, I don't have to be judgmental on this. Maybe this person has more to offer. That is
Correct.
your condition response. That is your active condition response. Okay. So
So a
when you,
kind of conflict between the subconscious and the conscious mind.
not at all, absolutely not. It is you
Okay.
retraining yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So see, my point here is when you say I do not want to be judgmental,
Huh.
this is going to be a wrong value because you will
Okay.
always have that condition response.
Correct. I got it. Yes.
Okay. Your value will be I will work on
Train
being
myself. Yeah.
non-judgmental.
Correct.
I will work on being having a positive regard for everyone.
Right.
Okay.
Got
I
it.
will not have biases forever. I will not be non-judgmental. That cannot happen. And if a counselor is telling you that I am never judgmental, that means they're lying.
Okay.
I will try to be non-judgmental. I will try to see your point of view first before opening my mouth.
Correct.
Okay. So coming back to your point, biases, judgments. Okay. I will try to be non-judgmental. I will try not to operate out of my hereditary biases. That is your value. What is
Yes.
your identity? Your identity is you're a counselor.
Yeah.
You personally believe everybody has something good to offer.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when a person comes and starts bad mouthing about somebody, what do you do?
I would more focus on the issue that's creating for them
Mhm.
because of such issues that they feel that someone else is creating. What is the pain that they are going through would be the focus.
Okay. So in this case, the boundary that you are setting will be you will not accept that bad mouthing. You will try to find out what exactly is going on.
Yes.
But if they keep on telling you bad about that person, what do you say? And how do you deflect it?
How is it affecting? I mean, the feelings, I would more focus on the feelings.
Mhm.
And of course, I would ask them how frequent is such feelings coming? Because is it because of something external, or again, like how you said, there is some conditioning that has happened in, through the childhood.
Okay.
So focus more on the feelings rather than what is being told.
Okay. But what is the boundary? What is your limit to accepting that bad mouthing? Don't think about the counselor hat for a moment. You're just walking
Okay.
on the road and somebody comes and starts, somebody and they come and start bad mouthing to you about some other person. What is your limit? You will not start counseling them at that point.
I would change the topic.
Okay, that is your boundary. You will change the topic.
Exactly.
Yes, get it?
Yes.
That is your boundary that you will not accept bad mouthing from other people.
Absolutely.
How do you work on that boundary is something that, how do you communicate that boundary is something that we will see in next session. I
Okay.
will share with you all the statements that you can say, all the actions that you can take with people who keep on imposing their stuff on you when you have communicated clearly that please don't do that to me. Okay, I hope this is clear, Chandrika. I hope
Very clear. Thank you so much. Yes.
I'll take one more. Is identity one's profession? Not really, Lolita. Okay, if you are a mom, that is an identity, right? If you are working as a doctor, that is also your identity. So a person can have a lot of identities. Being a wife, a sister, event manager, and being an athlete, being good at chess, or being very good at. There are people who drape saris amazingly. You can't name them. You can't give them name a professional name, but you still know that. Oh my God, if I want a sari draped, I will go to X person. That is their identity. It becomes a part of their identity. And if you go to Instagram, there are so many women who are showing you how to do makeup. That becomes a part of their identity. So identity is something that you identify the other person with, which helps you identify. But it is not the whole thing. So it is like a cake. You can make 1,000 slices of that cake, and there can be 1,000 identities that you have. Okay. Anybody else wants to have a go at this slide with their own personal example? Raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one. Anita. Okay. Hi, Anita.
Yeah, hi. So I just want to give you my experience, and you can tell me whether this is the boundary that I've set and this is my value. Um, so, uh, okay. I have this habit of giving donation for people who come like charity, on those different charities that they come online. So it may be a small amount also, but I just keep doing it. And I realized a point where I don't want to give, yet I have a guilty conscience when I don't give. So I couldn't figure out how to stop this. So I have devised one method in my mind saying that beyond a particular amount, I will not give. So this is the amount that I will give. For example, I will give 10,000 in a month, and maybe with every donation, I may give 1,000, 1,500 till it reaches 1,000. I'm sorry, till it reaches 10,000. So do you think that is what I'm doing as setting as a boundary?
That is a beautiful example, Anita. I'm so proud of you.
Okay, thank you.
This is exactly what we need. Okay. You have identified one bad behavior that you want to change. You have identified, you have set a limit to it, and you are working actively towards it. Okay. In now, your example, I'm going to take in terms of these 5 things: identity, personal belief, value, limits, and expectations. Okay. You've given me a solution. But before I reach to a solution, I want to examine what you think.
Okay.
So your identity, you identify with being a generous person. You identify with being a benevolent person who gives money to charities for good causes.
Okay.
Okay. Your personal belief is when you give money, something good will happen to somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? So what is your value? Generosity is your value. And okay, so value I'm going to explain in terms of what you feel is really important in your life. Giving money, being generous with money is really important in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, limits. Are there any limits to it? Earlier, there weren't any limits to it. You were just giving left, right, and center. And your expectations with yourself were when you did not give.
Yeah.
Felt guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah. When, okay, somebody comes knocking at your door and they are regulars. And you, this time you say, I don't have money. But inside your guilt has started and they will start guilt tripping you.
Right.
That, madam, you give every time. Now you're not giving it. What is going on? Right? That is your expectations with yourself, others imposing expectations on you. So what you did, you created a boundary. You are still giving. See, still you can move out of this fence.
Yeah.
But there is a limit out of which you will not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Very good, Anita. This is a perfect example of setting a boundary. Thank
you.
you so much for sharing. Okay, so is this value system clear? I will again come back to it because that is going to be your homework. You will identify what your values are. 5 values. Okay, one value we just saw was generosity. The other value that I shared is being accomplishment in sports is my value. Third value that Chandrika shared was about being non-judgmental or trying to be non-judgmental. Okay, these are the values. If you want, I can share a list of values to Dr. Mittal and he will circulate to all the counselors and you can choose and be ready with examples on what your values are. Okay, this slide. Now there is this man standing inside a fence. Do you think this is a healthy boundary or an unhealthy boundary? Yes, values can definitely be your strength. I will come back to it. I will share a slide about values and we can have more questions on it. Okay, Neha, Judy, this is unhealthy. Rashmi depends on the man. Okay. Why is it unhealthy or depends on the man? Oh, yes, as it is very rigid. You're right. Not being able to move freely. Very true. So people can't get in. But the person who's inside their boundaries, they can't get out too. What would be an example of this kind of boundary? I know a few people who refused to step out of the house in COVID times, which was okay. They are still refusing to step out of the house now because they have become so used to staying on the sofa, getting food served to them, and not being, doing anything in the house, so that they don't even go out of the house anymore. They have created a boundary around them that if I step out, I will get a disease and I will die. So they are neither growing nor they are letting anybody else grow. And they are creating a lot of dependency problems on their families. This is a kind of unhealthy boundary. This is a kind of very rigid boundary. So when there are no pores, you can't go out, nobody can come in, that is a very unhealthy boundary. We'll see examples of what these are. Addiction is a boundary. Depression is a boundary, is an unhealthy boundary. Okay. What do you think? This is healthy or unhealthy? This is a very porous boundary. That means the person has defined things for themselves, but there are so many holes in it that they keep on slipping out of it. Okay, this is again an unhealthy boundary. I know what my limits are, but I don't enforce them at all. I know I should not be around non-smoking, should not be around smoking people, but I still am because I like those people. I know I should not be texting that person, but I still am because I miss that person. So many times the clients have come with the statement that I'm missing my ex-boyfriend and I want to go back to him, but he was very bad to me. He was very rude to me. He abused me a lot, but I want to go back. Those are the examples of very porous boundaries, which is again unhealthy. Okay, how about this? No boundaries at all. Not self-control issue, Ranjit. I'll come back to you and we'll have a discussion on self-control. Not having any boundary. You can freely go out. People can freely come and give you advice even when you're having a food at or dinner party. That is a kind of definitely an unhealthy boundary, right? Okay. What are the signs of unhealthy boundaries? Either you trust no one or you trust everyone. then you go against your personal values and principles to please the other person. People pleasing, we do it a lot, right? I don't want to get up and cook because my legs are hurting, my back is hurting, my head is hurting, but I still have to because it's my family, and my family doesn't know how to cook, and my family can't feed for themselves. That is a personal boundary that is being breached. Okay, it is not you, the wife or the household person, who is giving out more and more and trying to get something in return. That is a personal boundary that you are not enforcing. Then falling in love with someone who reaches out, anyone who reaches out, anyone who is kind with you. And this especially happens in girls or boys right after teenage. Right after teenage, because teenage is a very hard time for most of them to go through. Touching a person without asking, especially touching a pregnant lady's bum, or touching somebody's shoulder, or in office environment, it is termed as a physical harassment. Touching a person without asking is also a sign of an unhealthy boundary. Oh, this one is my favorite. Giving as much as you can for the sake of giving. I give so much and so much and so much. I am exhausted at the end of the day. And nobody gives a damn about it. This statement is a classic example of no boundaries. Letting others define you. Okay. For example, you sing. And you sing really bad. But other people tell you, don't sing in front of me, don't sing anywhere because you're a really bad singer. So somebody has labeled you that you are a bad singer, and most of the people stop. But there are some people who practice, who find out videos, who find out classes on how to sing better and learn and learn and learn. They don't let other people define them because they have boundaries on what you can tell me. Maybe I know I sing bad. Maybe I want to sing bad. But that should be none of your concern. Okay? Excuse me, I have a very bad throat. Okay, letting others direct your life. Again, you should be going here, you should not be going here, you should be doing this, not doing this. Take science, they don't take maths. Don't write this email, or be angry at lesser money or that kind of stuff. Letting anybody direct your life. That is a kind of boundary that you don't have. That is a kind of value you don't have. Expecting others to fulfill your needs automatically. And this classically comes from the husbands, thinking that wives should be cooking food, wives should be doing everything in the household, taking care of the kid, and even going to job, getting money in the house. That is something that is required of the wife. They don't communicate, they just expect that the stereotypical roles have to be fulfilled. And that is where the problem is. Then waiting for or falling apart for someone to take care of you. Waiting for anyone to take care of you is a sign that you have no boundaries. Unless and until you have a grievous disease. Any questions on this? I want to see the chat. Taken for granted, absolutely. Rashmi says, in context to second point, if someone loves serving the family. Sorry, I didn't get your question, Rashmi. Even if it's harming her. Would you like to elaborate on that? If you raise your hand, I'll unmute you. Hi, Rashmi.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that if there is a person who's serving others in the family, and
For
even
example?
if it's, for example, a woman, she's serving her family, like she's doing everything for everybody in the family, and she's not getting time for herself, and that's making her mental health go bad. So is it a case of personal boundary or is it something else or unhealthy boundary?
When you say everything for everyone, that means you have no boundaries.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
you are trying to give out your 100% to the family. Okay. Do you live in a family of babies?
Yes, ma'am.
No. So is everybody around you a baby?
No, 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 no.
No, right?
Only,
You
no.
will have a husband, you will have in-laws, you will have, and everybody is an adult. Why do
Right.
you have to take care of everyone?
Right. So,
Right?
okay, okay. I got it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Tell me.
No, 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 no. It was like my mother-in-law, she cares for everybody, and then her health is not good. She forgets, she's become forgetful and all, but she doesn't want help for taking her me time. So if that is the case, it's without any boundaries.
You're very true.
Yes.
You're right.
Okay.
So, first step in identifying whether a person has boundaries or not is seeing whether they are trying to do everything for everyone.
Right, right, right.
And the person who tries to give out a lot, they are also suffering from some sort of esteem issue. Why is it that they want to give out so much? Why is it that they don't want to hold anything back? That is something that needs to be explored with.
Okay,
But
right,
we'll come back to it later
right.
in another sessions on people who give way too much. But yes, you identified correctly that people who are giving out or caring for everyone are people who don't set boundaries for themselves, or they don't know how to set boundaries, or that they have to set boundaries. We
Okay.
don't have we I can't be blaming everyone for not setting boundaries. Okay, there are times when people don't know that they can set boundaries, or they don't know how to communicate boundaries.
Right, right.
This is
Okay.
everything that we will see.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. It is good to be called selfish then if we take out time for yourself. Prerna, whenever you're setting a boundary for yourself and you're communicating it to other people, there will be people who will not be happy. And if they are not happy, that is an indication that you were doing way too much for them. If they are not respecting your boundaries, that is an indication that the boundaries that you have set, they were gaining advantage out of it. And this is something that I really want everyone to remember. If you are communicating your boundaries clearly, politely, firmly, assertively, and if somebody comes back and tells you, तुम तो बहुत बड़े लोग हो गए यार, you're not even available for anything, you don't care about me anymore, that means they were gaining advantage of who you were before you set the boundary. Okay? Okay, let's come to healthy boundaries. So this person, I'm sure now we know that this is a healthy boundary. This person has defined rules for themselves. There are defined areas where they can go out and they can let anyone in. But their rules are defined. And what are these signs? Saying no without guilt. I'll take an example of saying no. I used to eat a lot of sweets. Okay, so people who know me well, whenever they would come visit, they would get a lot of sweets. When I set a boundary for myself that I will eat just one, they started getting offended because then they did not know what to get for me. So I very clearly communicated that I don't eat sweets anymore. And because I like this one so much, and because you took time and effort to get it for me, I will eat one. If they were my close friends, next time they came, they did not get me sweets. But if they were still getting me sweets, I was completely refusing. I don't eat sweets. That's a boundary I've set for myself. Okay? I did not have guilt because I put my value of my health first. Okay? Health is a value. Again, we'll see what values are. Asking for what you want or need. How many people have returned the dishes that they have been served in a restaurant because it was not made out well? How many of you have done that? Okay, Rashmi. If you've paid way too much for the food, you have every single right to send it back. That is a boundary. Okay, that is your value, that you will not accept bad food, that you would want to be served with good. Prerna, Neeraj, Neha, you have been right. Okay, don't think you have been a bad person. Don't have any guilt. If you have communicated that politely, you have set a boundary and assertive it. And yes, it is like being assertive. So assertiveness is a communication, way of communication that we communicate our boundaries with. Okay. Oh, many times the boundaries being so. Yes, yeah, most of the time, yes. Okay, taking care of yourself is a healthy boundary. So coming back to Rashmi's example, if she takes care of herself, if the person she was talking about takes care of themselves, that is sound of healthy boundaries. But it looks like they're not taking care of themselves at all. Not taking your medicines on time because you have been busy serving food to the rest of the house is a sign of bad boundary. Saying yes because you want to and not out of obligations or to please others. How many of us have been guilty of saying yes because we want our parents, our spouse, our kids to us to say yes? I don't want to share my time with somebody who doesn't really value it. So again, it comes down to communication. I don't want to offend the other person. I don't want to sound rude, but I don't want to go to your party at all. Okay? Behave according to your values and principles. Again, I'll talk about values and principles. Being treated as an equal, taking responsibility for your own happiness, knowing who you are, what you believe, and what you like. Anybody has questions? Oh, we have chat. Okay, me time. Okay, I don't know what you're writing me for, but thanks. Self-love is very important. Okay, yes. So how do we define boundaries? How do we define our values, our principles, and expectations? What exactly are values? Do you have questions on what exactly are values, or is it something that has been cleared right now? I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and I will share a list of values. In meantime, if you have any questions, please send them up in chat. So, can everybody see my screen? Okay. Give me 1 second, please. How do you find your values? What is it that your identity is? Can anybody give me an example about that? What is it that your identity is? What is it that you look for? What is it that motivates you or makes you wake up in the morning? I seem to have lost. Okay, honesty, bravery, commitment. Absolutely. So these are your set of values. Can you see my screen now? I'm sharing a list of values here. Okay. So these are the list of values: ability, abundance, acceptance, accomplishment. But how do you use it in your life? What exactly that means? When I'm in a fight, I don't want to be angry. I want to have composure. So that composure becomes my value. And when I have composure as my value, that means I will take steps to put it in my identity. I will, anytime that there are disagreements, I will do my breathing exercise, listen to the other person, look at other person's face, think what they are actually trying to communicate. These are the steps that will help me retain my value. But my value is composure during a disagreeable situation. Okay, if I want to have education as my value, I might do a lot of courses. I might do, I might teach a lot of courses. I might do papers. I might do journals on a lot of things. So education becomes very important to me. To find out what is your value, find out what is really important to you. Is having fun important to you? Then that is your value. Is being grateful for anything and everything that you have is important to you. That is your value. Okay. Coming back to chat, a modern Indian woman who has roots in her culture. Okay, what exactly does it mean by a modern Indian woman? And what exactly does it mean by roots in her culture? So I'm going to open this floor for some question answers, and you can share your experiences, and we will try to see what the value system is. But before, yeah, I think I have one more screen on how to identify your values. Okay, so how do you identify what your values are right now? Look at the life you're living now and answer the following questions. What do you find yourself doing more often? Are you engaging in a lot of charity work? Are you engaging in a lot of giving out yourself? How do you spend your time? Are you watching a lot of Netflix? Are you spending a lot of time on WhatsApp? That means your identity has become somebody who watches a lot of, who is somebody on the digital life way too much. And it's not a bad thing, you know. If you are on a digital life, a digital world way too much, then you can effectively use it to do other things. So I am not saying what exactly you're doing is a bad value. I'm just saying you find out how do you spend your time to figure out what your values are right now. And then we can work on what values you want to inculcate in yourself later. Or is it something, some value that you can expand later? When you meet with your group of friends, what exactly do you talk about? Do you gossip? Do you talk about political affairs? Do you talk about what is happening in some villages or what is happening with COVID? What do you talk about? What do you do when you have a day off? What angers you? What is it about others that you cannot tolerate? That will also give you a clue of what your value is. Okay. Anybody wants to do this value finding exercise right now? Because this is going to be a homework, and I will be very happy if you guys find out what your values are, so that in the next class we can actually practically see how we can draw boundaries with your values and what are the statements that you can use to share your values with, share your boundaries with your loved ones. So when I talk about boundaries in relationship, it doesn't have to be a marriage kind of relationship. It can be boundaries with your kids, boundaries with your in-laws, boundaries with your professional life, boundaries with your extended family, with your friends, with digital media, with anything that takes your time away from what your value and your principles are. If you want to be a healthy person, that is one value that you would want to inculcate. So you would want to start going for a walk. This is how, and if somebody tells you, you can't walk, you shouldn't be walking, it's not good for your knees, it's not good for this and that, that is somebody, if they don't have any logical concerns, those are people who would want to, those are people who are dinging in your boundaries. Okay, so that is how we will learn, that is where we will learn how to communicate what we need for our values. That is why values are really important, and I'm saying that again and again. Okay, this is all I have to present. Anybody wants to share their experiences about values or want to have a value finding exercise right now, so that others are more clear about what the values are before we can set boundaries. If you raise your hand, I'll unmute you. Or if you would write in chat. Anybody? Okay, any other questions? Okay, so till the time we meet next time, please answer these questions. What is it that you spend your most time with? What is it that you are talking about? What is it that angers about other people? What angers you about other people? Those questions will help you find out what you live for, what you strive for. And that is when we will do a boundary setting exercise, a live boundary setting exercise next time. Okay? Any questions anybody has? Okay, thank you. I think communication is very vital. There would be things that you might not like right now. There would be things that you might want your family to stop doing right now. There would be things that you would not want your spouse to do to you right now. But the way we communicate it might turn out to be something very rude or very not digestible to the family or guilt inducing in us. And that is where we get a lot porous boundaries. Okay, Prerna. Yes, please.
Yeah, hi, ma'am. Ma'am, I don't know it's an appropriate question or not, but there are few families which are like called a modern family, but no, they're traditional in the sense that when once you get married, your husband doesn't allow you to you cannot move out of the house alone, or your in-laws doesn't like it that you going, like, it's just an example that you're going on a trip with friends. It's like a girls trip, you cannot go alone, you have to go with your husband. And so basically it's like other people setting your boundary, or what you can do about it. Like, there's one of my friend in a family, she's not allowed because her husband is like, because my family will not like it, so how can I just send you on a girls trip or something, like these kind of things. So how do you manage this kind of family or your husband?
See, communication. That means freedom is an important value for her. Yeah. And
Okay.
that also means that maybe this value was not very communicated very clearly when they were getting married. So if I want to go on a girls trip, I would want to listen to what my husband's concern are. And if his concerns are only that my family will not like it, then there would be a set of statements that I will say to my husband, where I might want to go on the girls' trip. I might want to communicate my need for freedom to him. So, okay, I'm not saying that the girls' trip is happening. I'm saying that you will have to, or maybe that girl will have to start priming the husband for the need for freedom that she has. Okay, it doesn't mean that, okay, I set a boundary, I communicate to you, and I can go do whatever I want. Priming is a term used in psychology. Priming means, in literal terms, you can't paint a wall just like that, a brick wall. You have to keep on putting layers and layers and layers of that primer paint so that the actual paint stays. So slowly, you have to do a systematic desensitization with the husband. Slowly, some sort of freedom that she can ask for, maybe going to the mall with her friends, maybe stepping out with her friends to a local park. That is how the family will get sensitized. Because we can't say that what you're telling me is wrong. The husband has been brought up with a set of traditional values and he is holding on to his values. This girl wants to hold on to her values and there are clashes. This is what marriage counseling is all about. How do I communicate my values to you, uphold your values, and you help me uphold mine? So she's not wrong. He is also not wrong. It is all about communicating their values slowly by priming each other.
Right.
Okay. Maybe have I answered your question to what exactly you wanted to hear? Or is that
And then,
something?
like if I have to counsel, then how do I, go about it? Like, because she goes alone with, friends to a park or mall for lunches and everything. Everything is fine. Just like going out for a day with friends, night out, or just for a stay or something with girls, not with husband. That is the only thing it's not allowed, and she's accepting it because she's like, I cannot do anything if he's not allowing me. So I don't like that word.
What even the I?
I mean,
what are you?
No, she doesn't like it, but I also don't like it when she says that, I am not allowed because of him.
Prerna, you're a counselor.
Yeah,
You
that's
not there is no boundary for you then. Your client is accepting it. What do you want from it?
No, she's not happy with it, but she's not able to do anything.
Okay, she's not happy with it. It is not your job. As a counselor, it is not your job to impose what you feel is right on the client. And it is not your job to help the client find out where it is not your job to it is not your job to help the client talk to the husband about going out. Okay,
Right.
always remember, you are not here to give advice. You are here to just hold what their views are and provide a space where they can vent it. When we start taking our clients' frustration on ourselves, on our friends' frustration on ourselves, especially the counselors, we literally die. Mental death, it is. And don't fall into that pit.
Right.
It's very difficult to come out of. So impose your own boundaries. I understand she might be your friend or your very dear client, and you would want her to have fun, go out with her friends. You might not agree with what husband says, but if she's agreeing and if she is ready to see a new perspective, it is not your job to let her go out with her friends. Sarita, I'm so glad you agree with me.
Right, ma'am.
Okay.
Correct.
The way that you might be able to help her is again, let her keep on priming her husband about various things that she can do. This girls trip might not be happening. Maybe the other one will happen if she keeps on priming. Okay, your only job as a counselor would be to help her understand that this is something that she will have to give into and he will also have to give it. Somewhere adjustment will have to be made. If he's already letting her go out, maybe someday he will be okay with her going out with her friends too. बहुत जल्दी से सब कुछ नहीं होता.
Right, correct, ma'am. I'll wait for that day now.
And keeping a good friend to her. But if you are wearing your counselor hat, okay. This thing I really want to say, and I'm just going to take 2 minutes about it. There would be a lot of time when, as a counselor, your friends will approach you. यार बहुत problem हो रही है. Please let me know what do I do about it. That is a boundary that the counselor will have to make. And that is a boundary that says either you can counsel them. Counsel them means does not mean giving advice to them. Counsel means counsel. I will hold space for your thoughts. Or you can badmouth, like be their best friend and badmouth the husband and the in-laws and do anything and say anything. Just be yourself, just be a friend.
And that's what we do actually when we don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's what we do. And trust me, those people are really important. So the way I do it is, any of my very close friends who come to me for counseling, I straight away refuse. I know a lot about you. I will definitely have judgments about your family members. So I will not be able to give you an unbiased view. And I tell them, they understand it, and I direct them to my friends who I know will help them. That is one boundary I have, because I don't want to lose that kind of friendship. Okay, because that is also one thing very important to me, to have friends who I can badmouth around with. Okay.
Right, ma'am. Yes. Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just going to read the chat and then we'll close the session. Priming, is it so much priming? Is it worth self-respect then? Priming, yes, you will always, if you have been married for a long time, you have been priming your spouse unconditionally. Unconsciously. Exactly how much priming do you do? As much as it needs to get your stuff done. Again, boundary should be lined. I think she has to learn it over a period of time. Yes, priming takes a lot of time. And when we say people have grown together in a relationship, that means that they have primed each other for a lot of things. This is so tricky when one has to choose to counsel as a friend or as a counselor. Trust me, create a boundary, don't counsel your very good friends. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Sayani. It's a very nice compliment. Sarita, I'm unmuting you. Last question, please, okay?
Yeah, no, ma'am, actually, I wanted to give my example. Thank you so much for allowing me. I'm a very independent woman since the beginning. So when I was getting married, I was very clear what I want in my life. And me and my husband, we discussed our perspective towards our life very clearly. But when I met his family, because ours is a love marriage, his mother and their lifestyle, their tradition, everything is totally different. Even though she was also a working woman, but being from a UP family, they believe that the daughter-in-law should be well taken care of and she cannot do things on her own. So there I tried this priming thing, because initially when I went there, my mother-in-law felt that how she can, being my daughter-in-law, somebody should be dropping her to her house and somebody should be picking her from there. So there I tried, because suddenly if I'm saying that I know everything I can do on my own, so that might hurt her feeling, because she was trying to take care of me. So there, this priming really helped me, because I told her that, Mummy, I know that you are concerned, but I've been working, so I can move, I can travel around
that is priming.
Country. Yeah. So this thing I have tried, and ma'am, it's been 15 years now. If you see from the beginning also, this priming really helped me a lot. And the way, the relationship we have, it's a beautiful relationship I share with my mother-in-law, and she believes in me. Sometimes people get actually shocked how this is possible. She is from a totally different upbringing. She has her own faith, her own traditions and everything. But this priming is really helpful. There we have to be considerate about the person's feeling, their belief system, and the way they have brought. So if we are assertive enough and we are not hurting the person, and assertively we are communicating with them, that really helps. So it helps me a lot.
Matters.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful example of priming. You're all counselors, use priming. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Let's meet again next Wednesday to figure out what your values are, and we'll take up boundary setting one by one.